Okay, well, good morning everyone and welcome to our General Council meeting for the 17th of December 2025. It's our last council meeting actually for this year, so welcome everybody. So Marnie, just to record those who are present, please. Done. Any apologies? No apologies. And any leaves of absence, councillors?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I'd like to request leave of absence for the January meeting, which is the... What date? Sorry, I'll just have to look it up on the calendar. December. The 28th of January. I'm just putting that in as a precaution. I hopefully will be here, but I'll just put a leave of absence in, which I can rescind later. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Councillor Cypher. So we're just on item number 2 for apologies and leave of absence. If we can make sure and acknowledge that Councillor Wilkins has arrived for the meeting, please, and if you can record her as present. So can I have a mover and seconder for the leave of absence? Mover, Councillor Donaldson, seconder, Councillor Newman. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. We're all good for you to go on leave now, Councillor Cypher. So our acknowledgement of country. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work and live and recognise their continuing connection to land, water and community. And we pay our respects to elders past and present and to all those that have forged and built our beautiful region. Moving on now to our opening prayer. And I welcome John Leach from the Emerald Calvary Church. Tim from the Calvary Church. So welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Mayor, and everybody else, all the wonderful people here for having me this morning. My name is Tim Leach, and I, along with my wife Stacey and our 4 kids, we recently moved to Emerald. When I say recently, 2 years ago, we made Emerald our home, and we've been really enjoying the experience ever since. But I realise that there is lots to get onto today, so I won't dilly-dally for too long. Full disclosure, I did take the liberty of going online and watching the first 15 minutes of one of these meetings before, and I recognise that they get pretty wild in the first 15 minutes or so. So I don't want to hold you guys back from that, so I will get straight into what I'm talking about here this morning, just to take a few minutes around really Christmas. And I feel like I'm the privileged one of all of the ministers that I get to come in right before Christmas, which is really like the easy one when you think about it, because everybody loves Christmas. I think there's a good consensus out there that it's a good thing. So I just wanted to talk though for a couple of minutes before I pray this morning with our opening prayer about the idea of an invitation of great joy. And the reality of Christmas is that it doesn't, for everybody, equal joy. It is a choice in our lives in how we interact with the good news of great joy that we see through the Christmas story. So I'm just going to read a couple of verses of scripture here out of Luke chapter 2, verses 8 to 11. And it says, "That night there were shepherds staying in the fields nearby, guarding their flocks of sheep. And suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them. They were terrified, but the angel reassured them, 'Do not be afraid.' He said, 'I bring you good news that will bring great joy to all people. The Saviour, yes, the Messiah, the Lord, has been born today in Bethlehem, the city of David. The interesting thing about this account is that shepherds in the first century were actually social outcasts. We tend to think of sheep farmers in our modern day, and that's quite an accepted way to make a living and a wonderful thing to do, and we sort of celebrate that. But back in the day, the angel didn't come to those who were the most favoured in the community. That invitation came to sort of the least favoured, those who were considered unclean and were not permitted in a space like this or in their temple space. Humble shepherds, dirty and unclean, often despised and ignored, and yet heaven's first Christmas invitation came to these very people out in the paddocks. You might ask the question, why? And I would propose today that it's because God's joy is even for the unlikely, the unworthy, and often the forgotten. And this joy that we celebrate at Christmas time is for all of those in the community, those who are well off and those who are poor, people in every sense of their standing. The joy that we celebrate at Christmas comes from that reality that everybody is invited to receive of God's joy. And at the moment we are, as a nation, mourning something that we could honestly say is not joy. We've had a hard week as a nation. There's been some horrific things that have taken place down at Bondi. And the Bible has some wisdom on how we are to respond in times like these. And in Romans 12 verse 21 it tells us, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And we might say, well, how do we actually do that? What does that look like? And I would propose to you, it looks like the message of Christmas. See, the Old Testament, we see a prophet in the Old Testament called Nehemiah, who is well known as penning the phrase that the joy of the Lord is our strength. So my encouragement to all of us today, to everybody in this room, is that we don't ignore the harsh realities of the world that we live in. We don't ignore the horrific things that are going on around us, but we overcome evil with good, and we do that by tapping into joy, because ultimately the joy of the Lord is our strength. And as much as all the tinsel is great and the trees are great and all those wonderful things that we get to experience, the decorations down the main street are great, there's got to be a joy that's more than just tinsel. There's got to be something that's more than just decorations, because these decorations will come down. When you meet together on January the 28th, there won't be any shiny tinsel, but you've got to have joy in order to keep doing good so that we can actually have a response to the evil things that happen in this world. And I just want to encourage each one of you this morning that all the little things that you do, all the small things that you do, the seemingly insignificant things, they all make a difference for good. They all make a difference in the lives of thousands of people in this region. And I just want to congratulate you and thank you for that work this morning. Let me pray for you as I close.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we thank you as we come into the Christmas season that we can have a joy that is greater than just what is around us. We can access a joy that is more than just the season that we're in, but we can access your joy. I pray today for each one of the council members that are here today in this chamber and anybody else who isn't here this morning. Lord, that you would fill each one of us with your joy in a great measure that would enable us to continue doing good, that would enable us to continue making a difference in the world around us. We thank you, Lord, for this amazing region of the Central Highlands of Queensland. And we pray that your blessing would move through every home, through every street, and through every heart. And that this Christmas, people would be filled with your joy. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor. We really appreciate it. We thank you for your special prayers, not just for us, but for all the people in our region. So we thank you for choosing you and your family for coming. Also, we feel very privileged after listening to you today that you are here at our Christmas meeting, or close to Christmas meeting for this year. And we thank you very, very much. It's a very timely reminder about good overcoming evil, and we do that through joy, especially as a nation. We are all in shock with what's happened at Bondi and coming to terms with that. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you very much. Thank you very much for your beautiful blessing and bringing joy into our meeting today. So thank you very, very much. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to yourself and your family and all your congregation as well. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. So moving on now to our first 15 minutes. So we'll move on to our confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting. Before we move to the minutes for the October meeting, we laid those on the table, so I'll move the procedural motion that the matter be taken off the table so that we can now review the minutes as item 5.1, the minutes from the general meeting on the 29th of October. So can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mover, Councillor Hindmarsh. Seconder, Councillor Newman. Do we have, all those in favour? Sorry. Carried. And do we have any business arising from those minutes? No, thank you very much, councillors. We move on to the minutes for the General Council meeting, the 26th of November 2025. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Donaldson, and a seconder, Councillor Whiteman. All those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you. Is there any business arising from those minutes? No, very good. Thank you very much, councillors. So moving on to item number 7, review of outstanding meeting actions. If there's anything there that the councillors wanted to raise or... Very good. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 8, deputations. Are there any deputations, Mr. CEO?
No deputations today, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to mayoral minute, item number 9. There's no mayoral minutes for today. Item number 10, conflict of interest. Councillors, if there's any conflicts of interest, again, to be reminded that if something does come up through the meeting, you have the opportunity to draw our attention to any conflicts of interest. Item number 11, petitions. Are there any petitions, Mr. CEO?
No petitions received, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to section 12, decision action reports. Moving to item 12.1, communities. So the agenda is 12.1.1, endorsement of the 5-year local government infrastructure plan review, and handing over now to Manager Kirsten Burns. No? Oh, sorry, I'm rushing ahead as usual. Always doesn't take much to confuse me with who's supposed to be doing what. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Cypher, seconder. Councillor Newman. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning and Merry Christmas, everyone. Through the Mayor. So, under the Planning Act, all local governments in Queensland require a local government infrastructure plan in the planning scheme, which enables us to levy infrastructure charges where they're applicable and triggered by development approvals. An LGIP, Local Government Infrastructure Plan, or LGIP as I'll refer to it, just with the acronym, identifies a growth scenario, which is called planning assumptions. So that guides the future of the region with growth from a 10 to 15 year window. So our trunk infrastructure relates to transport, parks, water and sewer infrastructure. In the Central Highlands, we don't levy charges against our stormwater network, which is something that we're looking at reviewing as part of this future review process. So the idea of an LGIP is to ensure that we plan for future growth across our regions. So in accordance with the Act, there is a requirement for councils to review their LGIPs every 5 years. Our LGIP was adopted back in 2019 and it's scheduled for review by March 2026. So in undertaking the review, council must comply with the Minister's guidelines and rules, which are prescribed by the state. So it's a statutory instrument which is enforced under the authority of the Act. The checklist attached in the report today is something that is used as part of that mechanism, and I'll take that on as being read today. So that just goes through and identifies what needs to occur. As part of this review, council engaged a consultant who's considered an appointed reviewer by the state, who has come into council, undertaken a review of our LGIP and had sessions with our network providers within council. So based on the review checklist and the requirements of the Minister's guidelines and reviews, it is recommended that council decide to commence an LGIP amendment in accordance with part 3 of the Minister's guidelines and rules. Council can obviously resolve not to progress that amendment this morning. However, the risk to council if there's no resolution moving forward is that a separate process would be required to be undertaken. Council would engage an independent appointed reviewer who would undertake an assessment against our LGIP. It is understood that this would be deemed non-compliant, which would limit council's opportunity to levy infrastructure charges on any new development approvals going forward. So that's one of the risks that we have if we don't progress this in accordance with the requirements to have that LGIP reviewed by March 2026. This planning scheme review process is just solely focused on the local government infrastructure plan and not pertaining to any other matters which we want to look at reviewing as part of a future planning scheme amendment process. So happy to take questions on notice to help explain it or articulate any of the matters in the checklist if anyone has anything.
Good, thank you very much. Over to Councillor Cypher.
I'll reserve my right to speak at the end, thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, any comments, questions? Councillor Wilkins.
Just a couple of questions, if I may. It's got here in accordance with section 25(3) of the Act, council must review the LGIP within 5 years of adoption, but it's now 7 years. So why was it sort of not adopted earlier?
Through the Mayor, great question. So in terms of the time frame, the LGIP was adopted in 2019, but when the planning scheme amendment was gazetted, it was gazetted in 2020, which means that council has that time frame before the resolution. So the 5-year plan of the 5-year review period provides a bit of a buffer zone as well too for councils to seek resolutions and go through that review process. So we're still definitely within the time frame for review.
From 2020 then? That's only still this year.
2020 to 2026. So it includes that buffer to take us through to March 2026.
Sure. So according to your proposed timeline, it sort of kind of finishes January 2028. Is that in our caretaker mode? Is that in our caretaker mode time?
What date? January? I don't think so. Just before. It's 6 weeks, I think, isn't it?
Okay, that's if all going well, yep. So with the, looking at the growth, it's something like 0.2% population growth. Is that going to make a significant difference as far as charges and things like that?
Another good question there, Councillor Wilkins. So in terms of charges, it's not going to make a significant difference unless Council chooses to make an amendment to our infrastructure charges resolution, where the growth rate, that's governed by the Statistician's Office, obviously, that will help us guide what we need to plan in terms of infrastructure delivery across our networks for the region. So in terms of the charges, that's something separate, but it's more just when we're compiling our schedule of works, which is essentially the list of projects that we'll deliver within that time that sits within the LGIP. That's governed by what growth we're expecting for the region. So that will be part of the internal negotiations with all of our network providers about what's on the to-do list.
Thank you very much. Just to recap for people who are listening, I think as well, the list of, if you like, criteria for the LGIP so that people, I think, I know I was always thinking that it included roads and a whole range of infrastructure. So, but it doesn't, does it? It includes, and this time we're including the stormwater with the other categories, stormwater infrastructure. So if you wouldn't mind just listing what they are, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So a local government infrastructure plan typically covers 5 networks, which is transport, sewer, water, parks, and stormwater, sorry. So with the Central Highlands LGIP, stormwater was removed in the current version of the LGIP, and that's something that we're considering bringing back in if we're able to get the data, essentially, to be able to add stormwater back in. So transport, parks, sewer and water is what's in the current Central Highlands LGIP.
And thank you very much. And we're adopting this today to include the stormwater as well.
Through the Mayor, this is just to progress the next stages to commence the LGIP planning process today.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. But yes, quite rightly, it is a long process, basically starting from adoption or approval today at this meeting, if we do, through to the January 2028. So thank you very much. And the other thing is that it's critically important for Council to continue to have these plans updated so it helps inform our long-term financial planning as well. So along with our infrastructure charges for development as well. So thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Handing back over now to Councillor Cypher.
Thank you. Now, you've already answered mine. It was about the stormwater. And obviously, moving forward, there'll be great discussions around that as this progresses. So, no, thank you. I'm happy.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've had a mover. I might just read out the resolution. I don't think we got to that before. So the recommendation is that the Central Highlands Regional Council endorses a statutory review of the local government infrastructure plan in accordance with section 25(3) of the Planning Act 2016 Queensland, and 2, decides to amend the local government infrastructure plan as a result of the 5-year local government infrastructure plan review and commence an amendment process in accordance with the Minister's guidelines and rules, and 3, delegates authority to the Chief Executive Officer to notify the Minister of State Development, Infrastructure and Planning of the outcome of the 5-year review of the local government infrastructure plan. So we have a mover and a seconder. So all those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Manager Kirsten. Thank you. We're moving on now to 12.2 section, Corporate Services, to item 12.2.1, Monthly Financial Report, November 2025. So can I have a mover, please? Councillor Wilkins, seconder Councillor Burns, and handing over now to our Finance Manager, Helen Kirby, to take us through the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning, councillors. This report is presented in line with Section 204 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, requiring monthly financial reporting. It outlines Council's financial performance to the 30th of November 2025, measured against Budget Review 1. Budget Review 1 was adopted on the 26th of November and now represents our current budget. At the end of November, we are 42% through the financial year. However, total expenditure is only at 35% of the full year expenditure budget. This year-to-date variance reflects disciplined spending and timing and budget phasing differences across both operating and capital areas. In terms of operating performance, a surplus of $18.9 million was recorded at the end of November, which is $4.6 million above budget. Operating revenue is $101 million, which is a minor unfavourable variance to budget of $236,000. Operating expenses are $82 million, which is a favourable variance of $4.84 to budget, mainly due to timing and budget phasing. In relation to capital expenditure, Budget Review 1 increased the capital budget from $82.7 million to $88.4 million by bringing across unspent funds from last financial year to meet purchasing commitments for certain capital projects. Year-to-date actual spend at the end of November is $18.2 million, which is 22% of the full year budget. Once commitments are included for purchase orders raised, the progress against budget increases to 52%, indicating that the capital program is on track. Council's net cash position is strong, with total cash sitting at just under $130 million and debt levels only at $31.3 million. 97% of our cash is invested with the Queensland Treasury Corporation in capital guaranteed at call accounts. Approximately $47 million of this cash balance is classified as externally restricted, meaning it is not available for discretionary purposes. Council's long-term financial plan forecasts no new borrowings for the next 10-year period, and debt is projected to fall to $19.5 million by the end of this financial year. Most financial sustainability ratios are on target, with the exception of the asset sustainability ratio. This reflects Council's focus on new and upgrade projects, which are supported by funding received through various grant programs. Total rates and water arrears are just over $10 million, comprising rates of $7 million and water of $3 million. While rates arrears decreased by $985,000 compared with last month, water arrears rose by $1.3 million due to the first half water notices which fell due in November. Reminder notices have been issued, and it is expected that the majority of the water arrears increase will be reversed in the coming month. Sundry debtors representing other customers of Council other than ratepayers total $3.3 million, with 96% of this amount current and not yet overdue. Finally, in relation to procurement activity, 984 purchase orders were raised in November and over 2,000 supplier invoices were processed for payment. 6 tenders were also released during November. Supplier spend is evenly balanced between local and non-local suppliers at the end of November, providing a good mix of local purchasing and access to a wider supplier base for specialised goods and services. In closing, the report indicates a sound year-to-date financial position with controlled expenditure and strong cash holdings. The capital program is tracking well, with over 50% of the full-year budget already committed. The recommendation is the Council adopts a monthly finance report for the period ended 30th of November 2025. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Councillor Wilkins as our first speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry, Helen, I have a few questions as usual. So just with the capital works grants, or capital funding for capital works projects, so it says here year-to-date we've only reached like 12.29%. Are we likely to get that 100%?
Just
Can
through
I
the
ask
chair, I
that?
might hand over to the Director of Operations for that question.
Thank you, Councillor, and through the chair. So the report refers to the amount the council has actually paid for the works that have been done. So depending on the type of contract, it may be like a lump sum contract where we pay at the completion of the work. So the $52 million is work that we have planned and already engaged, work to be commenced and is in the process of being delivered. What we've actually paid physically is that $18 million of that, which is that 12% of the whole financial year. So it doesn't actually reflect, the 12% doesn't reflect the work done, the 12% reflects the amount of money that's been paid.
Oh, I thought this was like grants. So this amount of money, $39.5 million, the BR1 of grants.
Sorry, Councillor, I misunderstood your question. So in terms of grants, yeah, we as a strategic program governance group report monthly on our grants funding, and our grants funding is well on track. So the projects that are grant funded are monitored very closely, and depending on the time frame of the grants, so some have to be completed by June 30, others are eligible to go across into multiple financial years. But at this stage, we are comfortable that we will spend all of our grant money in line with our current budget.
All right. So, are you saying we've received the 39.5 million in grant funding and spent 4.8, or we've? I'm just wondering whether we will definitely receive that 39.5 million in grant funding.
Okay, Councillor, so through the chair. So depending on the type of grant funding, so some grant funding is paid up front. And some grant funding is paid on receipt of actually the completed project. So once we complete a project, we submit an invoice to the state or the federal government, depending on where the grant's coming from, and they will pay us after the project has been completed. So some may have been receipted by council, and others will be receipted at the completion of the projects.
Okay, so it's a given, not like it's already granted, but it hasn't been received as yet, till it's finished, till the projects are finished or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So through the chair, anything that's in that report, we have a funding agreement that is associated with that.
Great, thank you. I was just a bit concerned. It's only 12.2%. We're almost halfway through. It's up to November. So.
Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Thank you. Also, just for the back to Helen again. So for the full year budgeted surplus of 8.89 million, so that doesn't include the money that's been used to pay off the debts, is it? Does it?
Just through the chair, no. So that's our operating surplus, but it will reflect the interest that we'll save on those loans. So that's built into that forecast, that operating forecast to the end of the year. So having paid off those loans earlier, we do have an interest savings there.
So I guess the projected amount is about 26 million to pay off that debt. So would that would be still classed as part of the surplus?
No, so that comes from our cash balance, so that reduced, so we're paying that from cash, so that's from our balance sheet.
Oh, okay,
so,
cool. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Councillors, any other questions or comments? Councillor Donaldson.
Through the chair, just wondering with the capital budget, it was 52, so that's tracking well ahead of other years. Would that be correct in saying that?
Through the chair, based on our reporting, we're tracking about the same with delivery in terms of expenditure, but in terms of actually delivery on site, we are tracking pretty well.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I just had a couple of things on page 45 under the total expenditure budget summary. I note that Council's total expenditure budget for 2025-26 increased from 261.099 million to 26.8.002 million. I calculated that the difference between that was 6.9 million, and I can see that where we've got there that the operating expenses went up 1.52.371 million, and just to flag that the majority of that increase was the capex with 6.751 million, just to explain that, because it is a little bit confusing the way it is written there with the repayment projected as well. For me it was. So I just wanted to make sure and clarify that point of how the percentages of OPEX and CAPEX that make up that increase to the budget.
Just through the chair, that's correct. So that the majority of the increase in our total expenditure budget was due to the increase in the capital program, and that was due to those funds that were, carried over from last financial year. And as you said, we had about $1 million increase in our operating expenses. A lot of that was related to our developed land sales, but then we had a corresponding increase in revenue to offset that as well.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to also just to ask the question, just because I had to do it. I noted Councillor Wilkins referred to our council planning to repay down debt, the 24.659 million. The 26.017 for this financial year, and noting that council has already paid 14 point
That's correct. So just under
261
15 million.
Yeah,
Today.
and so 11.756 million to pay off in the next 6 months.
Correct.
Yeah, to bring that down to the 19.506 million. Thank you very much. And my final comment really was thank you again for, on page 54, under item 10, procurement activities. Thank you very much for listing the tenders. It's also a great way for council or community to be able to understand where we're tracking with starting or progressing some projects that we've got in our budget for the year as well. And again, I'd like to flag and say thank you very much to council for continuing to improve their procurement processes and make sure that the community knows as at the end of November, so I should be saying that, that we're still tracking around that 44% local spend. So thank you very much. It's good for our local businesses and our local economy. So thank you. Okay, that's for me. And again, thank you again for a very comprehensive financial report. And over to Councillor Wilkins for closing comments.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I'd just like to say it's nice to see a healthy snapshot, everything like that, and a nice surplus at the end, and also that the debt's been repaid at a rate of knots, I think. So, thank you.
Okay, we'll just check. The resolution's quite long there. Oh, no, it's not. I was looking at all the attachments, so I don't have to read those out. So the resolution is that Central Highlands Regional Council adopts the monthly financial report for the period ended 30th of November 2025. So we have a mover and a seconder. So all those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Manager Helen. So moving on now to our agenda item 12.2.2, our risk appetite statement. So can I have a mover, please? Councillor Whiteman, seconder. Councillor Wilkins. Handing over now to our Director Corporate Services, Rhys Dennison. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning, councillors, through the chair. Councillors, we all know local government can be a risky business, and this report is all about councillors' appetite for those risks. To that end, councillors, this report presents to you a risk appetite statement for your adoption. The statement covers 6 key risks which are inherent in the business of local government. That is reputational, people, financial, service delivery, environmental and compliance-related risk. I'm aware that councillors have participated in a series of strategic discussions during the course of preparing this statement, and as councillors are very well aware, taking well-managed risks is essential for service delivery and achieving community outcomes. This statement is intended to offer strategic guidance to council and its staff when delivering those services and achieving those community outcomes. Thank you, councillors. I'll hand back to you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Handing over firstly to Councillor Whiteman.
I'll keep my comments till the end, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Councillors, any comments or questions? Councillor Wilkins.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how everything went through with the workshops and things to get this document. I also appreciate that the risk appetite has gone to towards a bit more of a balanced, moderate appetite. And that's it.
Good. Thank you very much. And I'd just like to say congratulations to the councillors and the staff that led the workshops to develop the risk appetite statement. It was a great process. We reviewed the levels and renamed them, gave them symbols. That was excellent. So for listeners, the levels are, I guess, from that very low, to put it in those terms, very low, low, moderate and high appetite. And also we reviewed the categories for those. It was which categories obviously include some of our key areas around people, finance, service delivery, environmental, reputational, and external and compliance risks. So the other excellent thing that happened too was, as you know, we have our Audit and Risk Committee and we have independent and external members, professionals on that group, and they commended council on the risk appetite statement and gave us a couple of other items to add to that. So I think that where we are now with the risk appetite statement that we have, which guides our decision making and helps us make balanced decisions on behalf of the community. So it's well done and congratulations to the councillors and staff for coming up with this. It's going to hold us in good stead going forward for our decision making. So thank you. And Councillor Soper.
Thank you. Just very basically, on page 75 of the document, there's 2 edits there. It looks like to me they're highlighted in red. I don't think they're a hyperlink. I'm just wondering why they are edits in this final draft.
Yep.
Are they to be included or excluded or?
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Cypher. So that's in the body of the report, not in the attachment in the appetite itself. As it says in the body of the report, there's specifically feedback from the Audit and Risk Committee that they'd like to have seen adopted in the final risk appetite statement.
So that those edits are to be adopted today?
They're in the final version of the attachment. That's correct, Councillor, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm just wondering why this one wasn't. Yeah, that's all my clarification was. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cypher. Yeah, it was just to make sure that we could see where those edits were and for us to consider those as part of, I guess, upgrade, if you like, or inclusion in what council had already come up with. So I've seen it as really good recommendations. So thank you. Any other question or comment? Councillor Newman.
Through the chair, I'd just like to congratulate everyone on the process around this document. It's a very comprehensive corporate document, and I think the additions by the Audit and Risk Committee have really enhanced that. Yes, it was really effective. Everyone was included, and we all got our opportunity to create this. And I think congratulations to the staff involved for the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And like all statements or documents or frameworks, as we continue to move forward and everyone builds knowledge, we continue to improve on them as well. And this feeds into our risk framework as well. So this will be embedded in more documents, strategies, and other decision making for council. So thank you very much, Councillor Newman, for pointing that out as well. Thank you. Councillor Whiteman?
I'd just like to also say that it's to be congratulated on this document. However, I just wanted to point out that this document, the reason that we were able to come up with something as good as this is that the organisation itself is working very well at the moment, and I just wanted to congratulate the organisation itself and the people who work in the council for their efforts to allow us to get to this sort of a point. So,
thank you very much. Thank you. I'll read out the recommendation. There's no further questions or... that the Central Highlands Regional Council adopts the risk appetite statement for Central Highlands Regional Council. So we have a mover and seconder. So all those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Very good. So moving on to 12.3, operations. So the item is 12.3.1, request for permanent closure of unmade road reserve off Birkin Road, Mackenzie. So can I have a mover, please? Councillor Burns, seconder, Councillor Hindmarsh. Handing over to our Director of Operations, Jason Houlihan. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning again, councillors. So the application today, or the report today, is to seek support for an application which was lodged with the Department of Natural Resources and Mines, Manufacturing and Regional and Rural Development for the unmade road reserve that fronts Lot 6 of LR27, which is the extension of Birkin Road in the Mackenzie area, north of Dingo in the north-eastern part of our shire. The unmade road reserve adjoins Burkham Road and terminates at the Carramara property boundary. In assessing the application, council does not maintain this unmade road reserve, so there's no road within the corridor. The unmade road reserve does not form part of a designated stock route. Council does not have any infrastructure within the unmade road reserve, and the neighbouring property of Carramara has access via Carramara Road, which it can be maintained. In summary, councillors, the officers see no reason to not recommend the support for the closure. Happy to take any questions.
Good. Thank you very much. So handing over to Councillor Burns.
Pretty straightforward. Thank you, Mayor. I'll speak at the end if I have to.
Yep, good. Thank you very much. Councillors, any comments or questions? Councillor Wilkins.
Sorry, just can't get away. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I guess why was it built in the first place? Was it just something you do on maps or something? Or
Thank you, councillor, for the question. So the road corridors obviously were created when the lots were formed, which was, I'm assuming a very long time ago, and was to form access to other roads. What we see in this location is that that whole property on both sides of the road is owned by the same property owner. It forms one lot. Currently they farm across that corridor, so to them there is no boundary or anything like that. So the road that we maintain terminates at that the southernmost point of their boundary, which is where their house is located, and then the internal component is within their property. So it's a legacy thing. There's lots of these around the regional, around the state, around the country, that are dedicated as road reserve but don't have any roads in them and don't form part of our future plans for road reserves.
so is it an idea to go through and close them all, sort of thing, that are not sort of necessary, or do you just wait till someone requests it?
Yeah, through the chair. So at current council process is we only wait for applications to go through to the state. So council is just a referral agency where we get to offer our support or objection to it, and the state makes the ultimate decision.
So can I just ask, so what's the process, or how long will it take? So it's just a matter of saying, okay, it's closed and done deal? Or
so through the chair, there is a process where they have to advertise in the Government Gazette and go through a process to do the actual formal closure. From council's point of view, it's just a letter back to the department saying we support it.
Right, and so how long process is it? Depends on how long.
Depends on the and what
response.
Level of clear. They may need surveys, cadastral surveys, and things to be completed.
Okay.
So it depends on the situation.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you. Councillor Whiteman.
I'd just like to support this application. I have had people that I know have had these unused road reserves through their properties. The issue that you have with these, for the most part, they just sit there, as you say, as legacy items. But occasionally somebody gets their hands on an old map with these road reserves in it. They decide that they can traverse them, and you end up with a caravan out in the middle of your paddock somewhere. It can be very annoying having a conversation with somebody who believes that it's a gazetted road, so therefore they have the right to be there. It's a slow process. It takes about a couple of generations before those old maps disappear, and so people still these days with Queensland Globe, it might go a bit quicker, but certainly in the past, even after the closure of these roads, people would turn up for decades later holding old maps with the intent of traversing a road that doesn't exist. But by the same token, most of these legacy items don't form any issue for the people who have it on their properties either. So in this case, if they've gone to the trouble of applying to get the road closed, well, then I'd like to support it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I think the only other thing I'd like to make the comment on is thank you very much. I think we've asked in the past for maps so we can actually see where these sites are in the region. So thank you very much. I really appreciated that, the maps that you included in the report as well. Thank you very much. And absolutely. Very good. So I'll just read out the recommendation is that Central Highlands Regional Council supports the closure of the unmade road reserve that fronts Lot 6, LR 27 1668 Birkin Road, Mackenzie, Queensland 4702. So we have a mover and seconder, or Councillor Burns, sorry, did you have something else you wanted to add?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah.
Somehow I knew you might have been. So thank you. Thank you, Councillor Burns. So we have our mover and seconder. So all those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very good. So we're moving now. That's the end of our agenda items. So just to tick off that there are nil reports in the information reports for section 14. There's in section 15, information reports closed session, that there are nil reports, that there in section 16, no late agenda items. 17, no notice of motions. 18, are there any general business items at all, councillors, that you would like to raise? Councillor Newman.
Through the chair, it just came to light when we're doing the financial report about the tender process associated with how our capital projects are tracking. I think there's possibly an element where we could have in the council report when those projects are completed, so that there are constant record of those big major projects and when they come through within the council report. So I don't know if that's previously been done, but it's a good opportunity to demonstrate and highlight those projects through that process as well.
Fair enough. Very good. Thank you. I guess for the CEO to comment, if you have any comments at all about
If I can,
extra
Mayor, can I just take that on notice and just clarify it potentially in a workshop with councillors exactly what you're seeking?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Newman. Thank you. Any other general business? So moving on now to any community acknowledgements, if anybody has something. Councillor Donaldson.
As a few people, most people would know, we are through the Emerald Rotary in the Royal Flying Doctor Service, we're building Emerald's building a patient transfer facility. I'd just like to acknowledge Rotary. As at November, they've managed to raise $1.263 million through the leadership of Derek Main in the Rotary in the Rotary in Emerald here, through donations through a lot of small communities, big businesses, mining companies, banks, etc. I just think that is, for a small community of Emerald, that is an unbelievable amount of money. We have also got the had it up here, we got a grant from the RCIF grant for the works at the airport there. And if people go out there, you can see well they've actually starting to build it now. And I think it's complete. I'll have to ask Harry. It's sort of complete. Is it June or something? I think so.
Through the chair, it is scheduled for completion around June 2026 next year, correct?
And
Councillor?
it's going to be an unbelievable facility. They have built a few others. I think there's one at Mount Isa and another one at Bundaberg. I think that's correct. It's going to be a game changer. And I think we need to acknowledge the efforts of the Rotary. It just blows my mind every time we go to a meeting, the amount of money they've raised. So I'd just like to acknowledge for their great work out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Donaldson. I really appreciate you raising that to congratulate the Emerald Rotary. They have done a phenomenal job, absolutely. And as you quite rightly say, the aerial, I think they've changed it now, the title, isn't it? Aeromedical.
Correct. Aeromedical Patient Transfer Facility, I believe.
Yep.
To the chair.
Thank you. Aeromedical Patient Transfer Facility at the Emerald Hospital. And as you quite rightly say, Councillor Donaldson, a mighty effort and a game changer for our region. And while the Royal Flying Doctors have got those facilities in, was it Mount Isa, did you say, and Bundaberg? I think they're also saying that the facility they're building here is also unique style of aeromedical and patient transfer as well. So thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Donaldson. Councillor Burns.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Seeing as it's the last meeting of the year, I want to give a very Merry Christmas to everyone in this room and the community in general. And hopefully we all have a safe new year and come back and restart the town again.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Councillor Burns. And I think on behalf of all of us, we certainly wish everyone a safe and joy-filled festive season with their family, friends, loved ones. And as we were reminded by Pastor Tim this morning, everyone has their own, I suppose, circumstances at Christmas. So we like to remember everybody, and we know everyone reaches out with generosity to make sure that all members of the community are able to be supported at this special time of year. So a huge Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone in the Central Highlands and beyond. And we know that there will be a bigger and better year ahead. In 2026, a huge thank you to all the councillors for a very big year, and also a huge thank you to our senior staff and all the staff that come to our council meetings, but most importantly, a huge thank you to all staff right across the region of Central Highlands Regional Council for the valuable work that they do for us day in, day out to make a big difference for our region. And over to Councillor Newman.
Through the chair, sorry to come in after that one because I'd like to end the meeting with those statements, but just in noting Councillor Donaldson's celebration around the airport and all the wonderful work there, I've had a lot of positive feedback in relation to the Springshore Aquatic Centre, and it's very well appreciated by that community. It's come in early and in time for Christmas, so there's a very happy group down in that area and surrounding regions that are all enjoying that facility. So thank you very much.
Perfect. Another great achievement through council and our projects team, and certainly it was beautiful to actually get there on Saturday with Councillor Whiteman, our CEO, Mr. Aaron Johansson, formal, and our community operations, Director Communities, Carolyn Knutson as well, and all the wonderful staff and our pool operator down there, Melissa. It was just absolutely beautiful to be there, and you're so right. Everyone that was there was so appreciative of the pool and having such a great time, and really, really welcoming the reopening of that facility for Springshore. So thank you also for raising that, Councillor Newman. Thank you. Any other comments, councillors? Well, a huge thank you, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all of that. So to all the staff and everyone across the region, and ending our council meeting for today at 10:08. Very good. Thank you very much, councillors and staff. Closing our final meeting for